Um, uh, my name is Megan Tomkies, and I work at my local M&S as a customer assistant. I think I kind of really noticed it when I was about, say, 9 years old. From what I can remember, I have had a stammer since the age of 5. But my first my earliest memory was of me in school. I think I was having some weekly speech therapy sessions, and that was like my earliest memory really of me having one. I think I had two blocks of initial speech therapy with a local speech therapist, and my therapy was catered for children of between the ages of 2 and 5, and obviously being 9, nearly 10, that wasn't appropriate, and that's when I found over time my parents found the Michael Palin Centre in London. It's my education. I went to my local school in Southampton, and in a secondary school I found it quite difficult in the beginning, because you know what it's like when you go to a new school with new people in a new environment. It is quite daunting for anybody, let alone someone who has a stammer, who is young and doesn't always really know how other people will react. And I did find it extremely hard in the first 2 years of secondary school. But once I had my speech therapy at Michael Palin Centre, I did find it a lot easier, because I had learned the techniques, and I think as I got older, like I kind of learned to accept my stammer more. So I did really well in secondary school, and then I worked up to a college at Richard Taunton's in Southampton, where I took fine arts, textiles, and health and social care as BTEC, and fine art textiles were my thing, and it kind of really started my my pathway of what I wanted to do at university. Because I left college, I did really well in college, and then I went up to Solent University in Southampton, and I studied fine art. And although I was completing my course amongst COVID and the pandemic, which was very good fun, I did really well. I got a first class honours, and I think I was firstly really proud of myself for achieving that. But so I left university and kind of reflected on how far I've come and how I view my speech now, because I used to hate my stammer. What inspired me was the fact that when I was younger in class, you would have, if you had a supply teacher or even your normal teacher, they'd have a list of pupils who had, for example, the hearing impairment, and say someone had an allergy to nuts, which obviously is a severe thing if they're in contact with it. However, there wasn't a time in which I was never on a list. I was never noted that I had had a stammer, and I needed more time and patience, just like anyone else who has hearing impairment, visual impairment, or any other communication difficulties they may have. I was never included on that list till my mum. She did a talk at my secondary school to all of my teachers, and then on I was included on the list of pupils who needed more time and patience. So I wanted to create the symbol for colleague name badges, as I think it should be a thing that is recognised all over the world, because you'd be nice to find if a colleague had hearing problems. Well, they were hearing impaired, sorry, or if they spoke a different language. But until you heard me speak, you have no idea I had a stammer, like you know me previously. So not only is it there to aid me so that people over time will recognise it obviously more than they do now, because it's a very new thing in a world first. However, it's also to let people know that I need time and patience, and ultimately it will benefit the communication for both parties, so they aren't surprised, like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with her, what do I do, like I've never met anyone with a stammer. Like, so it can be quite awkward, maybe is the word, for people who have never met someone with a stammer, because they don't know how to react. They don't know whether or not to just smile and nod, or say take your time, or sometimes react very badly. So I wanted the badge symbol to be there to help people who have a stammer, people who have a stammer, but also to ultimately raise awareness of it as well. I would say never let it hold you back, because when you're younger, you don't fully comprehend or understand what, or even obviously know what you can what you're capable of, and that just because you have a stammer doesn't make you any less capable of doing everything you want to do. And that sounds really that sounds very it's easier said than done, because there are times in the past I've absolutely hated the way I speak. I would hate even talking, but I think when I look back, it's actually having a stammer has made me who I am today, and it has made me the resilient and even more determined to work hard and actually show the world that just because you have a stammer, I can do what anybody else can do. And also another piece of advice is there will be good days where you're really fluent, then you find it easier and don't even realize your stammer, and there will be bad days as well where you can't speak fluently at all, when you find it so difficult than it is on some days, like if you're anxious, tired, or you simply, it comes in waves, stammering, I think. But yeah, you have the bad days as well. However, those bad days will pass, and your courage to carry on talking if you want to. If you don't want to talk that day, then that's okay as well. But at least you are there, trying really hard, and that's enough. And it's okay to have good and bad days, because they will, because it is what makes you who you are. And having and I've now used my stammer in a way I never thought I could, by implementing change for people like myself. So I'm hoping to continue to implement change for people who have a stammer in any way I can. I mean, I'd like to set up some kind of a sub network within M&S, so for example, for colleagues who have a stammer, or parents who have a kid who have a stammer. So I kind of get to know this community that is online, of people of us stammering. There's really is an amazing community, and I think I would love to be part of it and just carry on changing 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 how people with a stammer are treated and represented in their work environment as well. But ultimately, I would I would really love to raise awareness of stammering. I think it is needed, and I think the more people who are aware of it and what one is and how to help the person you're speaking to have this stammer, I think it will make the world of difference of people like me.